Hello and good afternoon. We're here today with Mr. Conley and we have a few questions for him about the digital one-to-one learning environment. So, Mr. Conley, would you describe the one-to-one learning environment at EVMS?
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to get a grant, to start with a grant a few years ago to get a one-to-one laptop. And we had a different type of laptop before, but now we have Chromebooks. And the Chromebooks have proven to be very beneficial, and every student at school has the Chromebook. And so this has enabled me as an administrator to actually get rid of a couple of my computer labs that I had, which actually ended up saving me a little bit of money because now I can use those old computer labs for new classrooms. And now even when it comes to testing and all that, my students have the ability to just complete testing on the laptops, on their Chromebooks, instead of us having to schedule them to go in one class at a time into the old computer labs. So from that standpoint, just having that convenience of every student having their own Chromebook and having the responsibility of taking care of it and being accountable for it and learning digital etiquette and how to use it appropriately, I think it's been a very good move by the district, and we're lucky to have a Chromebook for every single kid, because a lot of other administrators I talk to through the state or in other states, they don't have this luxury of having one-to-one devices for every single kid.
Do you think it would be wise to implement them in other schools too?
Yeah, I think if you're going to do it, you need to do it as a district and not just as schools. And again, we were lucky enough to start at the middle schools, but then to roll it out to the high school. Now I believe they have it in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade as well. So for me, being at the middle school level, it's important that students already have the skills on how to utilize the Chromebooks. And a Chromebook now is just like a textbook. Instead of having a math book, you can just utilize your Chromebook and get the information and the lessons from that. So then I think it's important from the middle school then that the high school students have it, because again, it's just a tool for learning now, and it's not like this new toy and this new great thing. It's just the way students work nowadays. And it's like having a phone. Everybody kind of has a phone, and nobody can imagine what it would be like without, but it's just a great tool that has just become part of the learning environment and expectations for students across the board. And I think that's the way society is now. And really, if you don't have a laptop or a Chromebook or at least a smartphone, I think really you're at a disadvantage compared to other people.
How has one-to-one technology in the classrooms enhanced or improved classroom instruction?
Boy, there are a couple. I'm going to talk about it from a student kind of level and a teacher level. Student level is we are able to give out electronic assignments such as Google Classroom, shared documents. I've been in classrooms and I've seen wonderful collaboration between students. So instead of everybody writing down your answer on a piece of paper and handing it in, or sharing with your partner and having them look at it and correct it, you can have an interactive interface between students during a lesson. And so they can be working on the same lesson, they can be collaborating on a project, they can be just researching, and it makes, I think, learning quicker because you have easier access and you have better ways of inputting your answers. So instead of writing on a piece of paper and then handing it to your partner to make corrections, it can all be in real time where you're typing in something, your partner's typing in something, you're creating this project together. So I think just for students being able to work together has been great. But for me, even more important, I think, is how my teachers have collaborated. So now teachers can share lesson plans, they can share projects with each other a lot easier, they can plan together a lot easier. They talk about and plan, how can we utilize this technology to make student learning more engaging as well. So for me, the student part is great, but the teacher part is just as important, because we've been able to train teachers on how to effectively incorporate and integrate technology into their lessons. and it's not just a toy anymore. Really, it's become a tool that's kind of a necessity. And what's great is even when kids are gone, they can continue their learning, because if they're absent, you can get on Google Classroom, you don't fall as far behind, and you can get that instant feedback because you turn something in and a teacher can instantly give you feedback on it as well. So I think now it's just become a way of life and a way of learning. So I don't think we can ever go back to not utilizing one-to-one. And we got to make sure that we find ways to help pay to upgrade and keep this system going, or it could put us in a little bit of trouble.
So you kind of touched on this, but why else is it important for Funny to continue to pay for devices, programs, and a support team for digital learning?
For me, the big thing is it's just the way we're teaching and learning now. Even our new math program, our new English program, all of our new programs we're getting, and we're always trying to update new curriculum, all that is digitally based as well. So for us to say we're not going to utilize this one-to-one anymore, I think I don't see how it's going to happen. And I think in the long run it ends up saving money, because you're not spending $140 on one textbook. I mean, some math books are $150. So yeah, a laptop is $300 or so, but between that and the paper that we're saving, just between the engagement that we can have with kids, between the collaboration that's happening between teachers, I think it's an investment. And because now electronic learning is just the way we learn nowadays, I think it's very, very important to continue. And I also think it teaches life skills such as digital etiquette, how to use electronic sources appropriately. Future jobs are going to be obviously technology based. So if we don't have one-to-one, I think we're going to be taking a huge step back, and I think that's going to be a disservice to our kids. So I think it's got to be a priority that funding continue for the one-to-one.
So to close up, is there anything else you'd like to address concerning the one-to-one?
I had my concerns that kids would be addicted to technology, because you guys are always playing games, you're always on your phone, you're always chatting, right? You're always on social media, that kind of stuff. While there are some negatives such as, social media bullying, things like that, I think the benefits far outweigh those negative things that could happen. And I also think it comes down to just us being responsible in teaching students how to appropriately use it, because anything could be good for good or bad, quite honestly. And I think it's just because it is such a part of our lives now. I think, like it or not like it, technology, I think it's here to stay. So we got to figure out how to make it as positive and helpful as possible.
Okay. Thank you for your time, Mr. Conley.
You're very welcome.
See you.